Walking away is an art form, one that few master. The sound of your footsteps fading into the distance leaves a silence more deafening than any argument ever could. You didn't slam doors or scream. There was no dramatic flourish to your exit. No, your departure was quiet, a ghostly whisper that echoed louder in their minds than any declaration. What they never expected was the void left behind. It hangs heavy, a crushing emptiness where your presence used to be. You walked away, and that absence became a wound, festering in the hearts of those who never imagined they'd lose you. People who once underestimated your worth are now haunted by your absence. The spaces you filled, the conversations you owned, the laughter that belonged to you, all of it is now a void. What was taken for granted has become a painful memory, a specter that lingers with no promise of returning. They thought they'd be fine, that your exit wouldn't leave a mark. But people only realize the value of what's lost when it's gone forever. Your departure shattered illusions, left cracks in the walls of their carefully constructed world. Now they sit in the silence, breaking under the weight of your absence. There's a delicious irony in watching those who pushed you away now struggle in the aftermath. Once, they believed they had the upper hand, felt secure in the knowledge that you'd always be around. But you knew your power. You knew that leaving would be the final move, the checkmate in a game they never even realized you were playing. Walking away wasn't an act of surrender. It was the ultimate statement. You chose not to fight, not to prove your worth. You chose to leave, to let your absence speak louder than your presence ever could. When someone strong walks away, the entire world shifts. There is no greater blow than the loss of someone who once held everything together, who gave meaning to mundane moments. They didn't see it coming. The shock of it lingers, a bitter aftertaste they can't shake. Your exit was a silent earthquake, leaving devastation that words can't mend. Those left behind stumble in the ruins, trying to piece together what went wrong, replaying every moment, every word, in an endless loop of regret. The realization is slow, but it cuts deep. You were irreplaceable, and now you're gone. Watching them try to recover is like observing a pathetic theater of desperation. They attempt to rebuild, to move on, but nothing fits the way it used to. The puzzle is incomplete, and every missing piece is a reminder of you. They speak your name in hushed tones, afraid that saying it out loud might summon the past. But you are beyond their reach now, beyond their apologies and their too-late realizations. Walking away was your final act, a ghost story they'll never escape. They thought they could live without you. Now they're shattered. And you never looked back. Leaving wasn't an act of cruelty. It was an act of self-preservation. You saved yourself from a place where your value was questioned, where your kindness was mistaken for weakness. People often confuse loyalty with obligation, expecting you to stay even when your spirit screams for freedom. But you listened to that inner voice, the one that told you to walk away. There is no shame in leaving what no longer serves you, no guilt in choosing your own peace over their chaos. You walked away, and the echo of that decision reverberates through the lives of those who once tried to cage you. The strongest lesson you ever taught was in your silence. Words can be forgotten, arguments can be dismissed, but silence is eternal. It haunts, it echoes, it cannot be reasoned away. You left a void that no one can fill, a presence that lingers in every room, every memory, People spend their whole lives trying to make an impact, to be remembered. But your absence became your legacy, a haunting presence that stays with them, reminding them of the cost of underestimating someone who had the strength to leave. Regret is a slow poison. It seeps into the mind, twisting memories, tainting every happy moment with the bitterness of what could have been. The worst part of losing you is that there's no way to turn back time, no way to undo the past. People wish for second chances, but you've closed that chapter. They learn too late that pride and ego mean nothing when faced with the reality of loss. You walked away, and with that single act, you shattered their illusions, made them question everything they thought they knew. You didn't walk away to teach a lesson, but a lesson was taught nonetheless. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet departure, the refusal to engage, the silent acknowledgement of your own worth. Walking away was a declaration of self-love, a message that needed no explanation. And now, as the dust settles, those who thought you'd return are left with the ruins of their own making. Attachment is the great fabricator of illusions. Reality can be attained only by someone who is detached. Attachment blinds, warps the senses, and clouds judgment. It whispers sweet lies, draping the world in fantasies that seduce the mind into believing in permanence, in forever. But reality is a blade that cuts through such illusions, and those who cling too tightly to what is fleeting find themselves bleeding from self-inflicted wounds. Detachment is liberation, a state of understanding that nothing is truly owned, that everything is borrowed, temporary. Only the detached can see clearly, untainted by the poison of false hope or the fear of inevitable loss. Those who remain tethered to illusions suffer most when reality strikes. Detachment is a villainous art, one that requires a heart of iron and a mind of steel. It isn't coldness, but wisdom, a knowledge that everything, every person, every place will eventually slip away. The detached see the world for what it is, a theater of impermanence, a stage where actors come and go, playing roles that never last. Attachment binds the soul in chains, makes one a slave to the outcomes of others, to the whims of fate. But those who let go, who embrace detachment, walk freely, untouchable by the petty strings that control lesser beings. The illusion of attachment is that it offers comfort, security, a sense of belonging. But comfort is often a cage in disguise, a prison built from fear and false promises. People cling to relationships, to material things, to dreams that will inevitably decay. They cling because letting go terrifies them, because the unknown seems like a black hole, a void ready to swallow them whole. But those who embrace detachment find that the void is not empty. It is freedom. It is possibility. There is strength in releasing, in accepting that nothing belongs to you. And that's a power few are brave enough to wield. To detach is to master reality. It is to rip away the veil that attachment creates, to see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. The detached are not heartless. They simply understand that life's beauty lies in its impermanence. There's a thrill, a dark delight, in knowing that nothing lasts forever, that every moment is a fleeting gift rather than an owed promise. While others fight and cry to hold on to the illusion, the detached walk away, free from the chains that others willingly wear. They have nothing to lose because they understand that nothing was ever truly theirs. People hate those who have mastered detachment. It terrifies them. This idea of someone who cannot be controlled by love, by fear, by desire. The detached become enigmas, forces of nature that cannot be swayed. They watch the world burn without flinching, walk away from what others would die to protect, and that makes them dangerous. Attachment is a weapon that most use to control and to be controlled. But when that weapon has no effect, when it shatters uselessly against an iron will, there is nothing left to do but tremble in the face of such untouchable power. There is a purity to detachment, a raw clarity that those who live in illusions can never understand. It is a state of being that cannot be bought or forced, only earned through suffering and self-mastery. When someone walks away without looking back, without regret or longing, it creates a ripple of fear in those who remain bound by their illusions. They wonder how it is possible to care so little, to be so free. But the detached are not empty. They are full of the knowledge that life is transitory, that everything ends. They are not immune to pain, but they are no longer ruled by it. Attachment feeds on the need for validation, on the hope that something outside oneself can bring lasting fulfillment. Detachment destroys that illusion, teaches the hard lesson that nothing external can fill the void. It is a villainous enlightenment, one that grants strength but robs innocence. The world wants people to believe in forever, to think that holding on is heroic, but detachment is the true act of bravery. It is choosing to face reality, to accept loss without being consumed by it, to love without being enslaved by love. It is a silent rebellion against a world obsessed with ownership. Walking away with detachment is an act of power, a statement that nothing can hold you. People fall apart at the idea of losing, but the detached understand that loss is just a part of life's dark poetry. They do not flinch, do not waver. They move forward, eyes unclouded, spirits unbroken. This kind of strength doesn't need to boast or threaten. It simply exists, a quiet storm that others cannot comprehend. While attachment breeds desperation, detachment births something infinitely more powerful: the ability to choose, to be deliberate, to never be a slave to emotions or circumstances. The world will never understand those who are truly free. It romanticizes attachment, paints it as noble, as beautiful. Your heart must become a sea of love. Your mind must become a river of detachment. A heart filled with love is a force, vast and relentless, like a sea that never ends. Love can be a strength, a weapon, a promise. But even the deepest love must not entangle the mind. Love flows freely, embraces all, yet knows when to release. To wield love and not be ensnared by it is the ultimate power, an art few understand. Your heart may be full, but your mind must stay like a river, always moving, never stagnant. It learns to let go, to accept change, to carry away what no longer belongs. Together, this creates a balance that is both beautiful and terrifying. Love without detachment becomes a prison, a suffocating tide that pulls you under. When the heart overpowers the mind, emotions take control, chaining you to expectations, fears, and desires that poison the soul. But a mind that knows detachment remains fluid, adapting, never clinging to illusions or false hopes. It understands that love must never become obsession, that giving doesn't mean surrendering. In this way, you become a paradox, a heart that loves deeply, and a mind that holds nothing. The world won't understand how you can be both, and that's where your power lies. To master this duality is to become invincible. People think love makes you weak, makes you vulnerable. But when paired with detachment, it is the opposite. Your heart gives endlessly, yet your mind never traps itself in the need to receive. The balance is a dance, a razor's edge, a villainous grace that others envy but fear. They cannot comprehend how you can love yet walk away when needed, how you can give your all but remain unbound. This mastery leaves them bewildered, shattered by the enigma that is your soul. Love flows, attachment drowns. You've learned the difference. The sea of love in your heart must be vast enough to forgive, but never blind enough to forget. Love, in its purest form, is unconditional, but the river of your mind knows when to carry betrayal and disappointment far away. It refuses to let pain settle, refuses to let sorrow become a permanent resident. Detachment doesn't mean a lack of feeling. It means knowing that feelings are waves, always in motion, never still. This understanding makes you feared. You love, but you are not ruled. You feel, but you are never consumed. You know when to let go. Others become slaves to their emotions, unable to separate love from possession, desire from control. But you have learned that holding on too tightly poisons what is most beautiful. Your heart loves fiercely, but your mind releases easily. This confuses those who only know love as a chain, a binding force. They see your ability to detach as coldness, not understanding that it is wisdom. Your love remains untainted because your mind refuses to let it rot in the murky waters of attachment. It keeps moving, keeps flowing, purifying itself with each release. There is a villainous joy in knowing your heart can be a sea and your mind a river. People expect love to be a weakness, a vulnerability to exploit. But for you, love is strength, and detachment is armor. They try to hurt you, thinking your love will trap you, that your emotions will chain you to them. But when the river flows, when you let go without hesitation, their power crumbles. They realize too late that you are not bound, not caught in their web of manipulation. You loved, but you never needed. You gave, but you never lost yourself. The greatest weapon is a heart full of love and a mind full of clarity. People think they can tether you, that your love will make you stay, make you bend to their will. But your river of detachment is unstoppable. It sweeps away all expectations, all disappointments. You move forward, always forward, never anchored to what tried to drown you. It is a dark, beautiful thing to witness. Love that does not break, that cannot be used or corrupted. They watch as you love without losing, give without being drained, and it terrifies them. They say love conquers all, but you know better. Love, without wisdom, destroys more than it heals. Your heart must be vast, but your mind must be vigilant. Together, they create an empire of strength that no betrayal, no disappointment can bring down. You remain whole, undamaged, even when the world throws its worst at you. This is the secret to your survival, the reason you walk away unscarred while others are left in ruins. You've mastered the art of loving without attachment, and in a world of broken promises, this makes you untouchable. Every wave of love you send out returns to you, but nothing binds you, nothing roots you in the mud of past disappointments. Your mind, always flowing, always free, refuses to hold on to pain. It's a villainous power, a godlike ability to be both compassionate and ruthless, loving and detached. This duality keeps you invincible, a riddle no one can solve. They watch, unable to understand, how you give so much yet never feel empty. But the secret lies in your detachment, in your refusal to let love become a trap. You remain, always, your own. Walking away became your art form, a silent act of self-preservation. While they clung to what was broken, you chose freedom, chose to flow forward like a river. Their illusions shattered when you left, and all that remains is the echo of what could have been. Release and detach from every person, every circumstance, every condition, and every situation that no longer serves a divine purpose in your life. Life's cycles are merciless, devouring what no longer holds meaning, what has rotted from the inside out. The divine purpose whispers when it's time to let go, and ignoring that whisper leads to stagnation, to decay. To hold on to something out of nostalgia, out of fear, is a self-inflicted curse. Release is not an act of cruelty, but one of brutal mercy, a recognition that clinging to what is dying will only drag you down with it. Everything has its season, and not all seasons are meant to last forever. What once bloomed must wither. What once shined must fade. Detachment is a villainous grace. Letting go is not weakness, but a display of power. A silent declaration that you control what holds a place in your life. People will beg, plead, and curse when they realize you've outgrown them, when they see that their time in your world has expired. They become bitter ghosts, memories that try to haunt you, but you walk on, unbothered. You understand that to make room for new purpose, old burdens must be cast off. You choose freedom over familiarity, evolution over stagnation, and that choice terrifies those who cannot let go. Release every chain that no longer serves you, every obligation that feeds on your soul. Circumstances shift, people change, and situations lose the power they once held. To stay bound to them out of habit is to choose your own imprisonment. Release is an art, a masterful act of self-preservation. Detach from what pulls you under, and you become a force of nature, an unstoppable current that shapes the world to your will. This is where your strength lies, in the ability to say goodbye without remorse, in the ability to step into a new season without a backward glance. All things have a season, and seasons must end, no matter how beautiful they once were. There is a darkness to the idea, a grim understanding that nothing in this world lasts forever. But this is also where freedom lives. Each ending is an invitation to reinvent, to choose a new path filled with new opportunities. Holding on to expired seasons only taints the memories, turns what was once golden into something bitter. Release the past, let it rot where it stands, and walk into a future that holds the promise of something greater, something that serves your higher purpose. A new season awaits, one filled with thoughts and activities that elevate your spirit, not drain it. Detachment allows for rebirth, for transformation. People who watch you move forward will call you cold, callous, as if your ability to release is a crime against humanity. Let them call you what they will. Their words are powerless, just as they are. Because in the end, clinging to what is gone only drags the soul into darkness. Letting go is not about forgetting, but about choosing yourself. Choosing a life that isn't weighed down by the ghosts of what no longer matters. Walking away is a divine act, a mark of your evolution. Every person who once held you back, every situation that once chained you, is left behind to crumble in your wake. Those who failed to understand your strength are now shattered, haunted by the echo of your absence. Your detachment was not cruelty, It was survival. A choice to live fully, rather than be half alive in someone else's shadow.